event planning and TSU spaces for the University Conference Center. And and so a quick about us. So who we are is the University Conference Center is the office that coordinates the use of all of the meeting and event spaces within the Titan Student Union only. So we manage the TSU reservations that you will reserve through Titan Link. We assign resources for your meetings and events. And we also, most importantly, provide planning advice and support for your events here in the Titan Student Union. And so about us, so my name is Camille, and I'm one of the event planners in the University Conference Center. And I've been an event planner here for 4 years now.
Hi everyone, my name is Megan. I am the other event planner in the University Conference Center, which we will refer to as UCC pretty often. And I started here in November of last year.
Hi everybody, my name is Kirsten. I am the Associate Director of the TSU Operations and ASI Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion initiatives. I also supervise the Titan Bowl and Billiard Center at this time. So event requests that have to do with Titan Bowl and Billiards will be forwarded through me.
Great, so these are going to be the topics that we will be covering. So like we mentioned, feel free to write down questions related to these as we go through them. We'll have reserving TSU spaces in Titan Link, so how to get started, how do you get that room reserved. And we're also going to cover the different types of events and meetings that we have here in the Titan Student Union. So those would be simple meetings, maybe recurring, maybe one time, and then also large special events. Through our office, we use facility use agreements, and that's what you'll need to sign to reserve your space, which we'll get into a little bit further. So we're going to look at what does that agreement look like so that you understand what you're signing. And then we'll cover a little bit of definitions that we use in the conference center and some services available in the Titan Student Union that you can check out. So we'll get right into it with how to reserve a Titan Student Union space. Titan Link is the answer for this. It's the sole channel for student orgs to reserve a space. And these steps kind of show you what you should expect throughout the reserving process. So step one is you'll go on to Titan Link. You'll start an event request form. And we do recommend that you call our office. We've listed our phone number there because you can check availability prior to submitting your Titan Link. So if you've ever been denied because the date wasn't available, this step could save that. Moving on, once your request is submitted, the UCC is going to take time to review that. If there's any dates or times that are unavailable, we may deny the request to ask you to make some edits. That way, once it is all approved, you have accurate information on your end. The third step is that we're going to create and share with you a facility use agreement via email. And then the final step is that you should review that, sign it, return it to the UCC through email by the appropriate deadline that we give. And from there, you'll be able to receive a confirmation page, and then we will be able to approve your event on Titan Link. We do also want to point out that if your event ever cancels, we totally understand that things may change. We just ask that you please notify the conference center. That way we can make that room available, open it back up to student groups and other campus departments so that they can book the space. So make sure that in addition to canceling on Titan Link, you let us know as well.
All right, so next we will go into who and when. So who can reserve TSU or who can submit the Titan Link request for an event space? So that would be the president/chair, treasurer, or event planner of a recognized student organization. And with that, we do ask that your position that you hold, that you are listed on Titan Link holding that position. That is how we verify if that's a position that you hold, but also too, if that is not visible on Titan Link, we will ask for your president to update your student organization's Titan Link page to show that information. So for any of the presidents in the joining us today, that's something that we think is important to know. So, you know, as you all are getting new members, please update your Titan Link so that for those who are submitting event requests, that they're shown on Titan Link. And then, and also at the bottom there, this officer must be the event contact. So the person who is submitting this request is the person that either me or Megan is contacting for the event details. And we'll go in detail about what event details are a little bit later. And the win is 14 months in advance from the event date. So what are we in? Today's August 8th, so you have until October 8th of 2023. So you can pretty much start reserving now once you're re-recognized and have completed the re-registration steps. You can now, you will be able to submit for events and or simple meetings up until October 8th of 2023. So that's a long time that you all have. And we highly suggest taking advantage of that because the spaces here are shared with not only, you know, other student orgs on campus, but departments. And also we do have off-campus groups as well that utilize the meeting and event spaces here. So for simple and minor events throughout the year, we ask that they're submitted 14 business days prior to the event. And also for large special events, that would be 30 business days prior or more. So for a lot of this, that's like the timeline that is recommended, but we strongly suggest that if you know way in advance, submit as soon as possible. And as far as special events go, it's pretty much details that involve more planning. And we'll again cover some of these topics, but that could include cash handling, no cash handling, but ticket sales. You know, if you're having guests from off campus, your attendance size is large. So that's what's really encompassed in a large special event. And so next we will go into simple meetings. So these simple meetings can be recurring, so happening weekly, or they could be one-time meetings. So student orgs can use TSU meeting rooms once a week with a limit of 4 hours. So for student orgs that do have a general and board meetings, those should be held together in the 4-hour limit. So they cannot be split between a day, 2 hours here, 2 hours there, or 2 days. They have to be within 1 day and within the 4 hours or on 1 day. Also, so for meeting room selection, it is determined by the UCC based on your guest count and activities. So that information is something that you will input on your Titan Link submission, and we do take that information into account of what meeting room that we think is most suitable for your meeting and the activities and attendance. And also, so our meeting rooms have various layouts, and they can include assembly, which is all chairs, rectangle U-shape, and rectangle conference table. We also have custom, we could do custom layouts, which means that if you're having an activity that cannot utilize the standard setup that we have, that is something that could be discussed with your event planner in advance of the meeting date or event date. And that may be something that we could accommodate. But again, that's also something to note, and that is important to, you know, anything that deviates from our standard setups to please discuss with your event planner. And so in all of our meeting rooms, we have built-in equipment, which includes a computer and screen. And there's whiteboards in our meeting room. And we do have some new features, which we're utilizing today, me and Megan. Our camera and mics for Zoom/hybrid meetings. So another disclaimer, even though this equipment is built in, this is still something that you all have to request and make known in advance. Especially if your meeting is having a Zoom/hybrid component to it. That is something that we would like to know so that we could discuss with you about you know, what you're expecting from this Zoom/hybrid, pretty much how you want it to look and feel, so that we could work with you to have the correct setup.
Great, so now we will get into special events. So with special events, things that we've seen in the past include speaking engagements, really large panels, recruitments, or any large end of year banquets that you may be having. We do ask with the Titan Link, it's really important when you're hosting a special event to include a detailed and custom event description so that we can get the best idea of your event and provide that event planning support and advice and really get you in the best event space possible. So even if the event is an annual recurring event, there's always changes, so please include all those details in the Titan Link. Some of the event spaces that we have include the pavilion. So this is a larger space, can hold up to 100 plus. So it's really good for speaking engagements or any banquets that you would be hosting. This is where we get a lot of requests. So the pavilion can become booked very quickly. So we really recommend if you want to host an event in the pavilion, you take advantage of that 14 months in advance timeline available to student orgs. Another one is the Becker Amphitheater, which is an outdoor space. What's important to note about this space is that we do not include any furniture. So if you did want any tables and chairs out there, then you would need to work with a company such as Creative Party or another rental company to supply those. And so the coordination and cost of that would be responsible of the student organization.
I'm going to add on to the amphitheater as well that also does not include audiovisual beyond a basic like a tailgater system. So if you wanted to make announcements and play background music, we could probably accommodate that. Please convey that to your event planner. But if you wanted to have a panel of multiple speakers out there, that is not something that we provide in the amphitheater at this time. Mm-hmm. Also keep in mind with these rental companies that come to set up furniture for the amphitheater, there will be insurance requirements for that, and that often takes some time. So this isn't something that you would want to start 2 weeks before your event. This is something you'd want to consider at least a month, if not more, to make sure that all the appropriate paperwork is signed, sealed, and delivered. The last two spaces that we were going to talk about are briefly just the underground pub, which of course hasn't been a pub for about 6 years now, or any sort of food service for 6 years, but it is a relatively popular space on the lower level adjacent to the bowling center. And then we have the Titan Bowl and Billiards, which includes 8 lanes, 12 billiard tables, a shuffleboard, 2 foosball, 1 table tennis, console games, and arcade cabinet games. These reservations will be routed, and when you're doing your Titan Link requests, be mindful of where you're requesting. Be routed to me for consideration for event space in Titan Bowl and Billiards. Most often, student orgs use this space for their kickoff parties or end of the year parties. We do limit them to 3 hours. We do limit them to 50 people. Beyond 50 people, we can do it. We just have to have enough notice, and we do have to add staffing costs at that point because we're managing more people than the space is intended for with a simple attendant there. If you are requesting the pub only, you should forward that request through the UCC. If you're requesting Titan Bowl and Billiards and the pub, that one should go through Titan Bowl and Billiards on your Titan Link requests. Okay.
Thank you, Kirsten. So some event details that are related to special events include catering, vendors, fundraising or ticketing, co-sponsorship, and event-related costs. So these are details that you most likely won't have to worry about with a simple meeting, but will with a special event. And so you'll want to disclose all of these items to myself or Camille so that we can best help you have a successful event. we're gonna look at each one a little bit closer. So the first one will be catering at your events. So you have the option to do self-catering. This would be from a restaurant or establishment based on your guest count. And so this would not be anything potluck style. It wouldn't be anything cooked from home. It all has to be pre-packaged from a restaurant. And we do not have any deliveries here on campus. So you could not have pizza delivered, for example. Based on our policy, you would need to go have somebody pick it up and bring it. Another option is the CSUF pre-approved catering list, which your event planner can share with you. And what we want to point out with this is that you will want to pay special attention to when insurance is expired for some of these caterers, and that's going to be listed there on that list. So you'll know that, and you may need to work to get updated insurance if you want to still use that specific caterer for your event.
Okay, so vendors / exhibitors, so this is any small or large, any business, small or large, that will be on site to conduct a business. So that's the DJ, the caterer, the photo booth, any sponsors. So pretty much anyone that is coming from off campus or on campus. It could be your peers who have a small business. It could be anyone. We do require that, or they will be subject to insurance and approvals. So like Kirsten mentioned in the slides previous, that depending on, this does require advance notice, and it could take a lot of time. So that is something that, you know, the event planners, me and Megan, will work with you on. And that's why it's important. That's why we ask for thorough event details about your event, especially on Titan Link or through the event planning process, because then this is something that we could troubleshoot in advance. Because unfortunately it is something, if it's done last minute, it may not be a component of your event that could be possible.
So the next special event detail could be fundraising, ticketing, and selling. So our procedure is that there's no cash handling in the Titan Student Union. So if you did want to have an event that incorporated ticket sales ahead of time, that way the money could be donated to a philanthropy, or just the funds could be raised for a different reason, Eventbrite would be the answer for this. And Eventbrite is managed by TSU Information and Services. So once myself or Camille know that you have this component of your event, we'll recommend you to TSU Information Services, and they will work alongside you to create the Eventbrite. So the Eventbrite would be created and managed by the info desk. However, they will be able to add 2 officers that are planning the event. That way you can add an event photo and kind of get in there and really coordinate all your details on the Eventbrite page. And then in addition to that, when you are using an Eventbrite, there are typically staffing costs associated with this, because we'll have to have ticket scanners assigned to your event to scan the attendees in upon arrival. And then lastly, with any sort of fundraising or ticketing that you're doing, there is a fundraising form on Titan Link that you'll need to complete in order to record this information and inform the university of funds that are being raised.
So co-sponsorship. Co-sponsorship is when 2 or more groups have equal responsibility in planning an event. And how we determine this is our rate structure. So as a recognized student organization, because of your student fees that you all pay, you get a great benefit to utilize the meeting and event spaces here. For departments and off campus, we do have a rate structure for them, and they are not free. So when groups, especially student orgs, decide to partner with an off-campus group and or a department, that is when co-sponsorship is evaluated. And with that, we do have 3 qualifiers, or we do have 3, this is how we determine, when co-sponsorship is at play. And is it an original idea of your organization? Who is organizing the event? And lastly, who does the event benefit? And how, how does it benefit who it benefits? And this also too, so co-sponsorship can happen if a student org is reaching out to an off-campus group or a department. That is co-sponsorship, or vice versa, whether an off-campus group is contacting a student organization to partner with an event. So as far as when and how co-sponsorship is determined, again, that is something that is discussed with the event planner. And yeah, based off of that discussion will help determine if there will be a room fees associated with the co-sponsored event. So if there are any questions about that, co-sponsorship could be a little bit hard to understand, but if there are any questions about that, please just let me know.
All right, so our last one would be event-related costs. So these are costs associated with your event that are determined by the UCC. So as Camille just mentioned, you have the benefits of having the rooms at no cost. That is if co-sponsorship is not considered at that time, based on your event details. But you may see a cost on your facility use agreement for some of the following items. That could include building managers or custodians, ticket scanners, and more. And so these can be assigned to your event for a variety of reasons. Maybe it's because you're going to be here in one of our spaces before the building's open, so we'll need to have somebody assigned. Maybe you're here over the weekend when it's closed, so we'll need to have some custodians there. All of these things are what Camille and I are here to help you with. And we would add those to your event so that it could be the best that it could be. That finishes up special events here for us.
All right, so now we will go into understanding your FUA, which is the facility use agreement that you receive. If you remember the very first or third slide, showing you the order of your Titan Link submissions. I think this is probably the third step. But so what is your FUA? So this is what the FUA looks like. So the event contact is the person who will receive this agreement via email from one of the event planners. So the event planners are myself and Megan, or TSU Res 2, which is our front desk. They do create reservations. Thanks for doing that for the students. So as you can see there at the top, it will say client. So that is the person who is requesting the space via Titan Link. The reservation number is important to know, or just save your facility use agreements, because they are helpful to reference if there are any discrepancies with your Titan Link request. So we will ask what your reservation number is. It's usually the easiest and fastest way to pull up the reservation that you have on file. Event name is your title of your simple meeting or event. A status, it will show as tentative. So tentatively, after you submit, or once the UCC is in the process of reviewing your Titan Link, you receive a facility use agreement after we have reviewed it, and it will be tentative. And tentative means that your reservation, it's not approved and it's not confirmed. But here, for the sake of the example, it is confirmed. So when we do confirm your reservation, that status will change to confirmed. So if you compare it to your facility use agreement that you sign, and then the second document that we send, which is the confirmation page, you will see that those statuses have changed. It will list the contact number of the person, the email, the event type, and then the event coordinator, which was Megan. So if you don't remember, oh, who was the person from the UCC that was helping me, that was helping me with the reservation, it will list their name on the FUA. So some important reminders are listed under booking/details. So for example, the facility use agreement reminder deadline. So we use reminders in our office because it's not only reminders for you as the contact, but it's reminders for us to remind you of this deadline that's coming up. So the facility use agreement, you have 10 business days to sign to confirm the event, to confirm the reservation. And then just some other reminders that we have, we could put catering details, we put layout room specs, which is you're telling us how the room, specifically more so the pavilions, need to be set up for your event. And if your reservation has event-related costs, we will have the payment date of when we will charge your agency account. And then we have an event description, which we get from your Titan link submission. So your event description does need to be thorough and thorough. Okay, so next is the date of your event. If it is a recurring simple meeting, this reservation will list every single date of your meeting. So it's important to have those, so we get those dates from your Titan link submission. So on Titan link, you have to add every single date in that one request, and all of that is listed on the reservation. So it's important for you to thoroughly review and go through every date one by one, if it is recurring, or just note, okay, my event is today, August 8th. You will have the times do include your access through end time, and your event time is in that realm. So for example, 8 to 9, that is your event time. You have access to the room at 8, and you must be cleaned up and out by 9 a.m. The room is listed there. We are in Gabrielino. And some other things you may see on your FUA is staff remarks. Those are just remarks to that our building staff can see. If we have anything that we need to tell them about your event, that's what we list there. Activities, we do ask for an activity schedule from you. So that is something that we will list on the FUA. Now, these things are not all of this information may not be on your facility use agreement originally, but these are things that we do add throughout the planning process. So you may see some of this information, you may not, but it is something that is available, and all of this information is still important for us to know. And then equipment, that's pretty much where we list the equipment that you're needing for your event. So for your meeting, if you requested a computer, that will list on the agreement. Catering notes as well, if you're having catering of any sort, not even just catering, but whether you're self-catering or you have a caterer coming to provide anything for your event, we want to know that. And yeah, we have a manager cost there. We assign managers to events based on the activities that you have, and that is something that the event planner can discuss with you, the reason why, and determine, you know, if staffing is necessary. It's not always on the reservation, but it can be on the reservation. So what I want to stress here is that, again, as Megan covered, we do have event-related costs, so that is something that can appear on the FUA. And so lastly, there are our policies. We understand it's a lot of information to read through, but the person who is the event contact and signing, you are responsible to know this information. We understand also that there are other people who in your club who may be helping, it's a group effort, it's a team effort. Everyone may be planning this one meeting or activity or event. So then therefore, the person signing this agreement, so this is a contract, should explain some of these policies if applicable to their group, depending on the activities. So yeah, that's pretty much the FUA in a nutshell.
Alrighty, so I won't go into these too in depth because we do have the definitions listed here for you all, but we included this slide, that way you can go back and reference it. If you ever see something on your facility use agreement, or if in an email we mentioned one of these and you just weren't really sure what that was in relation to your event, you can go back to this slide and reference it. But we do set strike times in each of our rooms. So after a meeting ends, we'll have a little bit of time that our operations team will use to either reset the room, clean it up, essentially gets it ready for the next group coming in. Our event management system is what we use. We may call it EMS from time to time. And this is essentially a master calendar that shows us how our day's looking, what groups are in which rooms, and this essentially ensures that we can never have two groups booked in one room at the same time. So there's no overbooking because EMS is really good at not letting us do that. And then TSU Res 2, or we listed the full email here. These are our front desk clerical assistants. They are student staff. So if you ever get an email from them as well, they're going to be in communication with you, especially on Titan Link. So they may leave a comment on Titan Link, or they may deny a request and ask you to, add a longer event description so we can understand what's going to be part of your event. So they work with myself, Camille, and Kirsten. So our setup crew, our building managers, and our event attendants are all student staff. And so they are the ones who help set up the furniture for the events. They'll oversee the spaces and assist you with your event, setting up maybe podiums or any sort of AV. And then lastly, we have our CMAP. This may be listed on a facility use agreement. And this is when the room requires a setup change. So it's not us letting you know that there's a map attached somewhere that you should see it. It's more for our staff internally. So when our operations team sees CMAP, they know that they're going to need to staff accordingly, so the room can be set up specifically for you all.
Okay, thanks, Megan and Camille. I just want to talk briefly about some other items that are available for you with student organizations in Titan Student Union. The first we have is club lockers. These are available on the lower level off the sunken patio. There is approximately 26 lockers that are available to students who are in good standing. They will be made available to you after you have been recertified, re-registered, and approved through Titan Link. And the process for reserving those would be to come to the University Conference Center in person. This is TSU room 121 to make that request. Those are first come, first serve. So if you're interested in getting one of these lockers, many organizations use that to store chairs, party equipment, things they might use regularly while tabling that you don't have space otherwise to hold and you don't want to lug from home each day or keep in your car. We have expanded our equipment checkout in the TSU. We have, as usual for student organizations, they can check out tables and chairs. So say you want to go table at the ECS lawn. We obviously don't do setup out there. That is not our space, but we do have a limited amount of tables and chairs that your organization can check out, pick up at the location, and take to your new location. You are responsible for transport, and we don't have carts, unfortunately, because they kept getting broken or not returning. So we've made them as light as possible. Costco handles light chairs, but you would need to get them to and from. We also have bean bags. We have laptop desks if students wanted to check those out. We have just added to our inventory lawn games. If your organization wanted to have an outdoor meeting, say elsewhere on campus, but they want to play some games, we've got some tailgate type games that you can check out. Even individual students can also check those out. And then we have the inflatable Tuffy that is available by reservation only through the UCC. So if you are interested in having an inflatable Tuffy at your event in the student union, I'm having my banquet at the end of the year. We'd love to have inflatable tuffy. You would need to communicate that to your event manager, to your event planner, so that they could make sure that we are in contact and that it hasn't been booked by someone else. The inflatable tuffy is utilized not just by student organizations, but by departments on campus, the president's office, and infrequently at other locations. So we do treat this as a reservable in advance thing. Equipment checkout is first come, first serve, and it cannot be booked in advance. Day of, you can show up there. One other service that is available is, study room checkouts, but this is mostly for individual students. Okay, so we don't treat these. If you see that and you think that that's something you can use for your meeting that week, that is not an option. That is only for individual students. If their library is totally filled up and they want to check a study room, if we have them available, we'll make them available. But if you see that, please don't consider that to be a second option for a meeting space. All right. That pretty much does it for us, correct, Megan, Camille?
Yeah.
Contact information here?
So here's our contact information for those of you. So we are located in the TCU, 121. That is our front desk number and our front desk email. So any questions can go through, please call us, please email us. You're also welcome to just email me and Megan directly. We do have a Titan link also. So if you search University Conference Center, we do message the event contact on Titan link. So for example, when we're reviewing your submission, if we have a question, we do leave a comment in the message section. So that's something to pay attention to. We do like to utilize Titan link as well to talk to you all, but you can also message us there, give that a try. And our website, that's you can see the meeting rooms there and just get more information about everything ASI related. So that does it for us. Thank you very much.